What is up, guys, and welcome back once again then to our Kerbal Space Program Career Mode playthrough. It has been a minute. It's been about 7 months since the last update on the channel. Unfortunately, real-world commitments got in the way there, and I had to leave for work for a pretty prolonged period of time, and then obviously I had to take a bit of time editing all the previous footage from before I left. So yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've had anything on the channel, but I am back. I am absolutely back and raring to go. And what we're going to be doing then is picking up from where we left off before I disappeared. And yeah, last time we tried to set up a relay network and then did a quick mission to Minmus. And now we're back at the Kerbal Space Center here. And we are going to head straight into the administration building. And we're looking at, if you see in the right-hand side there, we are looking at Eve. I think we're a long way off of landing and returning from Eve, but we are not a long way off sending probes, and that is where the bigwigs, the business Kerbals, are setting their sights on next. So we take that mission, basically gives us more missions to Eve, and you know, more rewards for landing probes on there, which we are designing now. So we to accomplish the mission, we have to land 3 probes in different biomes on Eve. And so what we're going to do is we're going to spend a little bit of time here just creating a very basic lander probe to go down onto the purple planet and see exactly what makes it quite so purple. It was a bit of a challenge designing this to begin with, I won't lie. Obviously, it's no secret Eve is very difficult to survive entry into, so you know, we're trying to mess around with the 1.25 meter heat shield there and trying to keep everything sort of tucked in nice and tight behind the cover of that heat shield for the descent in through the atmosphere. Yeah, I was quite happy with how the probe turned out, to be honest. I think it was okay, but we kind of realized towards the end of the design process here that we just didn't have anything really substantial in way of any sort of comms equipment. So you know, we were making like smaller pack satellites almost, kind of similar to what we were designing for our comms network last episode, but then yeah, we realized that we were going to send it to Eve and it was just not going to have the range on it to really communicate back with the home base in Kerbin. So you see us sort of close off the fairing there, and we are unfortunately going to have to put that in storage for the moment until we get ourselves some more science and some better communications tech. So you see us there check one of the missions that we had outstanding, and that is to return from the surface of the Mun. That's going to give us a bit of a science payout and a bit of money payout as well. So we're going to redesign a bit of a lander here just to try and get some more science points from the surface of Kerbin's closest orbiting body. Regarding the lander itself, you know, there's nothing really too special about it. It's just a bog standard Mark 1-2 command pod to get 3 Kerbals in there, and then, you know, a transfer stage, landing stage, and a launch stage. The main sort of haul of science is probably going to be coming from landing in a previously unexplored biome, and that's where we're going to get our mission's worth out of this, but that is the craft built, so I'm going to hand you over to past me to see the launch. 3, 2, 1, and go. I mean, the launch went well. Okay, we're going to let that cruise up into space. We've got about 100k apoapsis. Who's it as well? So they've got 2 days, that's 12 hours. We can manage it. We can do it. It's just going to be a speed run, that's all it is. So yeah, you see there, the launch went fairly well, but we did realise about halfway up that we, when we were hastily designing that new lander, we kind of forgot to stick some food, water, and oxygen on there. So we only have what's readily available to them in the lander. You know, whatever snacks our Kerbals have managed to sneak on board with them. Luckily, it gives us about 2 days worth of life support, and the Mun isn't exactly far, so you know, we are able to carry on with the mission without any sort of huge concerns. As you see there, we're just setting ourselves up on a direct path to the Mun, and yeah, I mean, you see us there circularizing around, and then we're going to go ahead and choose our landing site. So yeah, I mean, the lander's going to turn not prograde, sorry, retrograde. You can tell it's been a while since I've done one of these, just to slow ourselves down and approach for landing. So I think that the main sort of focus here is just going to be aiming for, like I said, one of the biomes that we've not hit before. And you see there, we see a pretty decent looking crater that we've not explored yet. So we're going to aim ourselves for that. And yeah, you see the red sort of aiming marker on your screen at the moment. It's showing that. Descent, again, fairly unremarkable. All we're doing is just trying to get some last-minute science on our way down before we then hit the thrusters, hit the brakes, and slow ourselves down for touchdown. And yeah, again, now that we've got SAS, we've got pilots that can control the craft, it's pretty straightforward landing on sort of your lower gravity bodies at the moment, the Mun and Minmus. So you've got Gwenini, Sidrin, and Cloudtop Kerbin. I think the second two of those we rescued last episode, actually, have now set foot on the Mun. We then sort of go around and just grab ourselves some science, you know, exactly what we came here for, right? You know, trying to get hold of some science points so that we can afford some better stuff back home. And yeah, that's going to be Sidrin Kerbin, then our scientist, hopping out and grabbing all that data to store in the capsule. And yeah, I'd say we've got a good haul of science from this biome to take home with us. You see, we are grabbing all of it from the Science Junior as well, and making sure it's all stored inside, just in case it does go up on re-entry, as they are kind of prone to do. We then hop down. Cloudtop jumps out the capsule and gets the honor of planting the mission flag for this trip up. And yeah, we'll say maybe we'll make it home this time, because obviously Cloudtop and Sidrin did get stranded, and that's why we had to rescue them last session. Plus, you know, we've had our own ups and downs with our Muna program, right? So yeah. Without any sort of further fanfare, the Kerbinauts jump back into the capsule, and we take off. Plenty of Delta V, plenty of thrust available, and Sidrin, the little daredevil that she is, jumps out while we're on a bit of a suborbital trajectory, just to grab a little bit more science before we then set ourselves up for the return trajectory back to Kerbin. Yeah, again, like I said, straightforward burn here, nothing too extraordinary happening, and we set ourselves up on a nice return. Yeah, we did kind of cut it a little bit close with the fuel, but I mean, we were on the right side there of the flame out on this occasion, so we were able to float on down. You see there, we are also cutting it quite fine with the life support. Less than an hour left of that as we enter the atmosphere for Kerbin, but thankfully we are able to slow ourselves down. We have to shimmy the capsule a little bit to get the lower stage out of the way, but then once that is shunted away from the bottom of the capsule, you see we skim our way through the atmosphere and slow down enough so that we can just nice and easily pop the chutes down. We did pop them quite high up. I didn't really want to take any chances, and yeah, without really any further complication, we float on down and land in a nice little forest on the surface of Kerbin, ready to be collected back to the Space Center. So you see there, we get a good haul of science, good bit of experience for our new Kerbinauts, and we're able to pick up a few science nodes for some new space parts. We did think about going for a new sort of relay transmitters, communications equipment, but we actually see an opportunity here to sort of double down on the science gathering, shall we say, and we actually instead invest ourselves in some space telescope parts. So the idea being that we're going to launch this into space and let it do all the science gathering for us, taking pictures of new unexplored celestial bodies, and haul that science in, and maybe try and just sort of increase our overall productivity, and give the weenies in mission control something to look at as well, right? Rather than just constant mission reports and trying to figure out how to rescue our Kerbinauts when they get into their latest calamity. It'd be nice to let the technical geeks take the lead with the science gathering for a change. So you see there, we've designed the space telescope. We're now just going to stick a launch vehicle to it, and yeah. The aim is we're going to stick this in a fairly high up orbit around Kerbin, beyond the 2 moons, so that it's always got a clear line of sight to whatever it is supposed to be looking at, yeah, like that is essentially the design concept, hence why the launch vehicle is looking a little bit beefier than what it probably should do normally. But that is pretty much it, completely designed now. So I'm going to hand you once again back to past me for the launch. So once again then, a nice stable launch from a fairly rainy Kerbal Space Center there. You heard the thunder sort of crashing as we staged towards the end there of that clip. So it was a good job we launched when we did before the weather became a bit too adverse for the launch to continue. But you see there, we do have a mission for this to launch a space telescope. Hence why we're going up to the target altitude. So yeah, I mean, again, we pop the hood on this, and no real issue in terms of getting up to the altitude. I do want to correct a mistake I made earlier in the commentary. I thought we launched it above both moons. Turns out we've launched it between the moons. But yeah, still above sort of the biggest obstacle in the sky around Kerbin, right? So yeah, we reach our target altitude, nothing really too crazy with that, and then we go ahead and deploy the solar panels and the antennas and get this thing ready for business. I think we already... no, we didn't. That's all right. We then head back to the space center. We grab ourselves a couple of contracts to sort of take some pictures and put this thing to work straight away. So our first mission, I believe, is to go ahead and take a look at, I want to say, Sarnus. Yeah, it was Sarnus. So we set ourselves as, with the target of Sarnus and point the camera on over, ready to have a look. And have a look, see how this thing works, and take a look at one of the furthest, or one of the first further out celestial bodies in our in the Kerbal system, and obviously the scientists back in the lab are going to absolutely love these images and examining them and wondering just what lies around this gassy giant on the outside of Joule's influence. You see there is a little bit darker just because of the position of where the sun was, and because we have the Eve Probes mission, unfortunately we do miss out on quite a lot of science from the transmission, but we do then manage to take another job, and this time for Eve, which we then send the send the science back for as well. So 2 new bodies pictured, and obviously the scientists back at the lab are gonna start analysing that, taking a look at the atmosphere makeup of Eve, and yeah, using that data to then help them purchase a new tier of communications upgrades, as well as a new upgrade for the launch pad, allowing us to launch heavier rocketry. Not satisfied with this, though, we do then take another couple of missions to use the space telescope to look ahead at Jewel, the big green jewel of the Kerbal system, as well as take a quick picture of the Mun. It wasn't good enough that we'd been there. Now we want to take a picture of it just to flex. So I think Werner von Kerman wanted a picture of it just to hang on his wall in his office to claim claim victory over the Kerbal satellite. But yeah, after that we sort of set ourselves up just to leave the telescope in orbit for now, before then deciding to take a bit of a break from the sort of fairly frequent launches we've been making, and hang about for the transfer window for Eve to come around. So yeah, we needed to make sure that obviously we got the transfer window in the right place so that we could get to Eve as early as and as easily as possible. Otherwise, you know, we're spending far more Delta V than is really appropriate trying to get there. Remember, we are still operating on a budget with a career mode, so we just want to make sure that you know, we're setting ourselves up to get this accomplished on the correct sort of the budget. And you see there, we have now arrived at that transfer window, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and add our new communications technology to the mothership of the pack launcher, with the idea that that's going to allow us to control the probes as they descend through Eve's atmosphere. But yeah, very small adjustment, and this craft is now ready for launch, so I'm going to hand you over to past me to see how that went. Oh, okay, yeah, we need more power. We were going down then. I'm so used to, like, over-engineering the first stage. Yeah. There we go. Right, nice and round. Let's pop the fairing and let's extend your boys, because I'm gonna forget by the time I plan everything else out. So yeah, we launch with not really any complications. We make sure we launch. We extend the communicators before we then sort of do our interplanetary burn and completely forget and let this thing float on as an empty husk. So we will maintain communications with this. We set ourselves up with intercept with Eve, as you see there, with a little bit of a mid-course correction, and just trying to get as close as possible to, you know, minimize the amount of fuel needed to capture around Eve. And yeah, you see from there we start our burn. Luckily, because we're going in towards Kerbal, we're able to fire the engines on the daylight side, and yeah, we are now en route to interplanetary space. You see there, we're just adjusting our mid-course correction just to compensate for the not quite so precise nature of how we did our burn, and you see there, nice and low, ready to capture around the purple planet later on. And yeah, thankfully, due to a fairly empty launch schedule, we are able to fast forward straight away to the craft arriving in Eve's sphere of influence, before it does then burn nice and close to the atmosphere there. Not quite in it, but close, to utilize that O-berth effect to capture, before we then go ahead and we actually choose to raise our apoapsis for reasons you'll see later on, before we then go ahead and park our mothership in orbit around Eve for it to float there. But before it starts shedding its payload, we are going to end the episode there. So do tune in next time to see how that goes. And yeah, it's exciting times, boys. You know, we're now starting to have a look at other planets around the solar system. But for now, thank you all for watching, and yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.